Gallagher of the House Homeland Security Committee is here with us in person in New York, and it's great to have you on the program. So one man's denuclearization is another man's what? Have we gotten on the same topic here?
Well, I would disagree with the assessment that both sides agreed to denuclearization. Both sides signed a piece of paper that said we will work towards denuclearization. But of course, when Kim Jong-un talks about denuclearization, he really means we're going to force the Americans to get off the Korean Peninsula entirely and abrogate the security agreements we have with South Korea. When we talk about denuclearization, we're talking about complete, verifiable, and irreversible dismantlement of their program. So there's a lot of details that need to be worked out, and that's why the negotiations Secretary Pompeo are having are so important, if no other reason than to ascertain whether or not Kim Jong-un is serious. And I worry that he's not.
You worry that he's not. I worry that that's a very simple definition that we haven't gotten to. And I say that because we don't want to talk past each other in our reporting of this. So we have to be careful not to say, and you corrected me and put a lot of people on correction too, that what they agreed to was moving toward denuclearization. And that's critical because Kim Jong-un has somebody to answer to as well. I mean, they tend to kill people in his country. He's among some of the deaths that we know about, right? So that nation is looking at this, and what are they wanting to get out of this process?
Well, I hate to say it, but I think if you just look at the history of the Kim family over the last few decades, I mean, the playbook is clear, right? It's to use negotiations, to use talks as cover for breaking sanctions and also advancing the program. So we've also had reports that while they have suspended missile tests and nuclear tests, they continue to enrich and build on existing facilities. So I think Kim's goal is clear. He wants to break the sanctions and keep his nuclear weapons, and that's why what we're trying to do is so challenging. I'm not saying it's impossible, but we have to convince him that his regime's survival depends on doing precisely the opposite.
That's never going to happen, though.
Well, we have options. If that's true, the president can say, hey, I was willing to try. I was willing to negotiate directly with him, and that's why I need to increase the pressure on the North Korean regime. And I think the president is right to suggest that the Chinese are not playing a constructive role in this, right? I mean, he even admitted as much in the press conference after the Singapore summit. He said basically that the Chinese are breaking our sanctions. So if that's the case, we should be in the business of imposing secondary sanctions on Chinese banks and businesses that are facilitating the economic lifeline for North Korea.
Yeah, because that would put a whole rivalry point to tariffs or anything else the Chinese may be pushing up against if we hurt them economically in other ways. What does progress look